Hi, my name is Adam with Peak Business Valuation. Today we are talking about valuing a brewery. This is an article from peakbusinessvaluation.com that I wrote a while ago. As you can see, a little dated, but a lot of the information contained herein, I believe, is just as relevant, if not more relevant today, given how the industry has changed over the past few years. So we're going to be going over um, the highlights of this article, and I will be providing some background knowledge as an expert in the industry of the brewing industry, and specifically the valuing of breweries. There may have not been a better time to own a small-sized brewery. Recently, industry insiders have noted changes in consumer preferences. Many consumers now prefer craft, local beers to large company breweries. Small breweries today have new opportunities to gain market share. In an industry with such large players, this news means good things for the small brewery. And that is so true. Guys, today the small brewery has an enormous advantage to gain market share and gain new clients. I just returned from a trip from the Pacific Northwest up in Oregon, which is obviously an area known for its brews. And me and my wife had an opportunity to view several large and smaller microbreweries. And it became so very clear to me that people want local beers today. People want local drinks. This is a huge shift in the consumer preference in an industry that has been dominated by the largest of the largest breweries for years. Today, the brewist, the small brewery has an opportunity, unlike ever before, to provide something new to customers and to gain that market share. Let's read through some more of this. Whether you are just starting or are a seasoned veteran in the brewing industry, understanding how to add value to your brewery is important, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Their businesses are all large type assets, and the value and the valuing of said assets and the things it takes to increase value. It's not always super clear to the small business owner. So we're going to be talking about what a brewery can do today, not only how we value businesses, but what a brewery can also do today to increase the value of their business in the near and long term, especially as this change in preferences in the industry continues. So as a small business appraiser, Peak Business Valuation worked with dozens of individuals who are buying and selling a brewery. As part of our valuation engagement, we discussed some of the key factors valuation experts use when valuing a brewery. Keep in mind the below factors are only a guide. So having taken a look at a lot of industry multiples, we analyzed breweries and came up with a range of multiples. Now, I always need to preference when we start these discussions that the market multiples that I'm about to share with you are for information purposes only. A true valuation will always be required to really understand the value of a brewery. But this is a way to get a kind of idea of what a brewery generally goes for. EBITDA multiples average range of 4.24 to 4.74. You saw that correct. Breweries go for, generally speaking, a larger EBITDA multiple than on average. SDE multiple as well, a 3.24x to a 4.19x. These are large multiples. Even from a revenue standpoint, just under 1 times to a little above 1 times revenue. There's actually a reason for this. Breweries specifically, honestly, as any brewmaster would know, require significant investment in equipment. And obviously these multiples include the required investment, the ongoing capital expenditures, investments in fixed assets that are required to own and continually grow the business, which is why the multiples for breweries generally command a larger multiple, up in that 4.24x. As that multiple also needs to take into account the type of capital expenditures that are going to be required moving forward. So because of the large-scale equipment A lot of that is required to continually grow the brewery and even just continue to operate, not even grow the brewery. They do generally command those higher multiples. This is actually an industry where a revenue multiple oftentimes can come into play. Though I do prefer to look at EBITDA multiples specifically. I do like to keep in mind the revenue multiples when I'm looking at a brewery because oftentimes those revenue multiples are some of the bigger drivers of what is actually driving a lot of the transactions in the brewery industry. So you need to kind of keep an eye on both. Both are very important, but it is important that they are making money. And that's why we really do like to flesh out with that EBITDA multiple first. So those are some of the basic ranges of multiples for a brewery. Let's talk about some of the important factors that go into the valuation of a brewery. A valuation expert uses a variety of business valuation approaches to determine the value of a brewery. Often cash flow multiples, SD, and EBITDA multiples are most applicable. This is very true. Like I said, we want to make sure that the brewery is making money. That's not always the case. Like I said, there's lots of expenses. It can be difficult running a brewery. Just because small breweries have an opportunity to grow right now doesn't mean it's all, rainbows out there. It can be difficult to make it work. So that's why we really like to focus on those EBITDA multiples. But as we say, the valuation expert uses their knowledge and expertise to determine what methods and multiples apply to your brewing business. By increasing your understanding of what a brewery is worth, you can begin to take steps to increase the value of your brewery. Let's talk about what steps you can take to increase the value of your brewery. These are things that I specifically look for when I start looking into a brewery, when I start diving into those financials and those qualitative aspects. There are a few key factors that I look for, and let's talk about this. So one of them is the product line. Let's read through this together real fast. Consumer tastes change frequently, as we have been discussing, and it can be difficult to predict how they will change in the future. Thus, diversifying your product line can create so much company value. Selling new products create new revenue opportunities, especially if customers trust your company. For example, if your brewery is known for craft beers, adding hard seltzers can be a logical choice. If you want my wife going, you're going to have to do hard seltzers. If you want me there, it's going to be the beer. Doing so may result in trusted customers purchasing new products. Your brewery may even attract new customers not previously reached. And just like I said, if you want my wife to agree to me going to a brewery, there's got to be something else for her. She doesn't like beer. These are important aspects of a brewery. A brewery does need a diverse product line, and that is one of the advantages, in my opinion, that is driving the consumer preference towards microbreweries. They have unique offerings. You can have a blood orange type beer. You can have a nice hard seltzer. There are so many different products that a microbrewery that can change and try new things that they can develop to bring in new customers that the larger kind of stuck in their way breweries simply can't. And that is what, as an avid brewery goer, that is one of the areas that I love to see the most is new, attractive product lines. And of course, a diverse product approach can have many implications, just in the fact that we never know what's going to happen down the line. We don't know what's going to happen with consumer preferences. It can be going towards, stout beers one day and then switch over to more amber ales. You really don't know what's going to be coming. And so you want to have invested in those products and really diversified your product expansion before the consumer preferences change, as that can help you be a little more agile in adapting to the consumer. So developing a diverse product line and having that diverse product line is something I look for when I'm looking at a brewery. That's very, very important to me. Another thing is distribution. That is kind of the name of the game, isn't it? getting customers their brews. Let's read through this real fast. Getting customers the products they want when they want them is just as important as any factor. As a small brewery owner, securing distribution channels is an uphill battle. You likely do not have dozens of breweries and distribution centers across the nation. Securing contracts with trusted retail and delivery partners can help you here. It may also be better for your brew to carefully select markets in which it distributes. Better to provide excellent service in a few communities than spotty service to many. Providing consistent distribution does wonders for improving revenue outlooks. Keeping your retail partners stocked ensures you do not miss sales opportunities. It can also increase customer loyalty. Hard to be loyal to a product consumer cannot reliably find. Improving distribution improves revenues, which help you run a more profitable, valuable business. Improving those downstream distributors is very important, just as it is putting together a great brew. If you can't put that brew in the hands of the customers, what are we doing? You know what I mean? And of course, it's an uphill battle. But of course, if we're talking about a microbrewery, the distribution is just as important. But it's also important to make sure that you have, like I talked about, secured good distributors. I do like the idea that of focusing on a select area in which you can distribute and really focus on that rather than trying to get to spread all over the place really quickly. There is a brewery I really enjoyed out in Oregon that specifically, when I both viewed their products in their brewery and at large that were actually distributed to where I am in Utah. And I noticed strikingly different approaches in their actual brewery. They had many amazing different types of brews, different flavors, and I had a really delicious amber ale there. But then when I came back over here to Utah, I actually was able to find that brewery in my local Walmart. But their product that they had delivered was quite basic, actually. And I think that was kind of the strategy. They wanted to have a nice, rich, beautiful experience at their home bar, but also be able to distribute more of a easily distributable type beverage to communities at large. Which seemed to work out very well for them, increasing their brand, increasing their awareness, and really improving those distribution channels. So distribution it's always kind of a two-edged sword, right? Do you start with that really secured local market, or do you go to that widespread trying to get revenue and get big? Personally, I think today's market prefers the smaller quality type sections and really delivering quality distribution channels to a few networks. But there are multiple ways to go about that. Establish quality control protocols. This is where the brewmaster is going to get very excited. This is what it's all about. IBIS World reports that the top 5 players account for over 70% of brew industry revenue. Wow, that's big. With such large breweries, how does the small business owner compete? The answer is simple. They need to produce higher quality products. And especially with the shift in consumer preferences towards craft beer, it can be done. Thus, it is important for the small brewery to establish excellent quality control protocols. Better quality control results in better products, yet creating effective quality control requires investments. But investments that return. If your number one weapon against large breweries is quality, then implement effective quality control. Let's read that again. If your number one weapon against large breweries is quality, then implement effective quality control. This is what it's all about, guys. Today, if we are going to compete against these large 70% plus brew market share, we're going to have to come out with quality. That is where the larger breweries just simply can't compete. They can't. There's no way. If you want a less quality product, you know where to go. But if you want your good top of the line breweries, you're going to a microbrewery. Every time when I travel, that's where I'm going. I'm not visiting the big guys. I'm not interested because that's what we love. We want, but if you go to a microbrewery and you do not find that quality, I mean, it's probably a matter of time until they're gone. That's how important establishing quality control protocols are for the microbrewery. And that might be a odd sounding phrase to some people. Small microbreweries cannot maybe spend as much on quality control, but I'd argue that's an investment they can't afford not to spend. And so when I'm valuing a brewery, I'm checking on those quality control protocols. I want to know, how are they putting out a good product? What do they do to ensure that it is of their quality? Because if it's not, people are probably going to be going with somebody else, either a microbrewery that is investing in quality, or the big guys where they can just get a lot of beer for pretty cheap. In summary, there are many important considerations when valuing a brewery. Understanding the value of a brewery is important whether you are looking to buy, sell, or grow a brewery. Obtaining a business valuation can help you understand the fair market value. It can also help identify opportunities to maximize the value of your brewery. And that's what we want to do, guys. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, grow, merge, whatever the plans, the long-term plans and short-term plans for your business are, for your brewery is, we want to help you understand what the value of your investment is and what it can look like over time, and how we can help grow it and maximize the investment value, or the value of your investment. So my name is Adam Mosley. I love helping breweries, and I want to help yours understand its value better. Please give us a call, reach out to us, let us know how we can help maximize the value of your investment. Thanks.